What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Trapfish Aquatics. Today I'm going to be talking about using sand as a substrate in your aquarium. Alright, so sand in the aquarium. Chances are if you're watching this video you're considering putting sand in your aquarium and you're looking for some advice, or you're making the switch from gravel to sand because you think it might help your plants out a little bit. And both of those are good things. And I use three different kinds of sand here in the fish room, and I want to talk about them a little bit. I use play sand, pool filter sand, and sandblasting sand. And all of them look very, very good. Two of them work with plants very well, and one of them doesn't, which I'm going to turn the camera around here in a little bit and explain to you why it doesn't, and talk about each sand a little bit on its own, and give you guys a couple little tips on sand. Now, sand, if you go and get it from a pet store, generally is a little pricey. If you look at Carib Sea, I think they have 15-pound or 16-pound bags of it at like PetSmart and Petco, and it's like $30 for a bag of sand like that. And that's okay if you're doing a small tank. It is extremely pricey. So generally, I get a lot of my sands from either Lowe's, Home Depot, or Tractor Supply. Most of the bags are 50 pounds for less than $10 a bag. Some of them are even $5 a bag. And a 50-pound bag, you could do a 55-gallon tank about 2 inches deep with sand. And overall, it's a lot cheaper and works just as well. So I'm going to go ahead and spin the camera around here, and I'm going to talk about the three different sands we have and give you guys a little information on them. Okay, so this is the first kind of sand that I want to talk about. This is going to be play sand. You can get this at Lowe's or Home Depot. It's $5 for a 50-pound bag. Play sand is very, very fine sand. And if I get close here, see if we can show you the grain size. You can see how fine of a grain it is, right? And you can actually see snail trails and things like that in the sand. But this sand is super, super nice and looks very, very natural. If you're looking for a very natural scape, this works very well. If I spook my cory cats here, though, you can see it kicks up very, very easily and takes a long time to settle back down to the bottom. And that can be bad for hang-on back filters and canister filters, because that sand will get in the impeller and it'll burn it out. I've actually burned out one hang-on back filter on this tank because of that reason, because I wasn't running a pre-filter sponge, and even with a pre-filter sponge it still gets in there. So the sand in all looks very, very well. So if you're just going to do like rock and driftwood and stem plants, or like I have Java Fern and Anubias in here. I thought I had Anubias. Oh, I took the Anubias out. Those plants are going to do good. But if you want to use rooted plants, it's not going to work out that great for you, because fine sand like this compacts the roots of the root feeding plants and doesn't allow them to feed, and it will choke them out. Another thing with this kind of sand is it does trap a lot of debris. You can see all the brown down here, and it holds on to it, which generally that's going to, it may build ammonia pockets underneath the substrate, which could end up releasing gas into the aquarium and end up killing your fish. So you have to make sure with a very fine sand like this that you're constantly sifting through it every time you do a water change, so that way you don't run into that issue. So that's pretty much all I wanted to say about play sand. The next one I want to talk about is going to be pool filter sand, which is a much larger grain, but the same color sand. So if you want to use rooted plants, it's going to work out much better. And that is going to be like what I have up here in this beta tank. So you can already see the coarseness of this sand is much, much larger. You can see the grain size here. And this works out much better for root feeding plants because the roots can actually spread out and feed properly. It's a little easier to clean. It doesn't hold as much debris as you can see in here. You're not getting the brown like you are with the play sand here. So it's much easier to clean. It works better with root feeding plants. My stem plants love it too. All in all, excellent sand. This sand is HTH, which can be found at Walmart. I believe it was $6 for a 40-pound bag of it. I also have it over here at the axolotl. So if you're looking for a sand substrate with your axolotl, you can use this sand too, even though it is a slightly larger grain. A better option of sand would be the play sand for an axolotl. because it is much finer and you don't have to worry about impaction as much, but the sand works just as well too. No live plants in here because he would eat them, but all in all, a very good substrate option. The last one I want to talk about is black diamond blasting sand, which is a sandblasting sand, and I have that in multiple of my tanks. I have it here, I have it here, I have it down here, I have it over here, and I have it up here. And it's my personal favorite kind of sand. It works out excellent for planted aquariums. It's good for water column feeding and root feeding plants because of the coarseness. It doesn't compact. It is inert, so you have to use fertilizers like all these other sands. And see if we can get close enough here to show you the grain size. So you can see it's about the same size as the pool filter sand. So that's why it works out really good for rooted plants. So all in all, I really love sands as substrates. They work out amazing. I don't have any complaints about this kind of sand, the blasting sand, or the pool filter sand. The only one that I have like a small complaint on, and it's for root feeding plants, is the play sand because it's so fine it compacts the roots. But if you're not going to run root plants, it's really not that big of a deal, right? And honestly, all of them look really good. Now, if you're trying to debate on which color sand, whether you want a white sand or a black sand, I would kind of base it off of the color fish that you're getting. If you're going to be getting fish with dark features, like that molly right there is kind of dark, shows up really well against the white sand. Where the neon tetras, they're kind of hard to see. But with a lighter colored fish and a black substrate like this, the black substrate really makes them bright colors pop really well, and it contrasts really good. So the sand choice is really up to you. They're all inert. You're going to have to use fertilizers on all your different sand substrates. The one benefit of black diamond blasting sand is there is a little bit of iron in it, so if you have plants that require iron, like I have the Amazon swords in the back there, it is going to supplement a little bit of iron to them, but not a whole lot, so you still may have to add some iron supplementation to that, but all in all, they all work very well. Oh, and if I didn't mention it already, black diamond blasting sand can be found at Tractor Supply. It is $8 for a 50-pound bag. This in here in this tank is one 50-pound bag of black diamond blasting sand, just so you get an idea of how much you're going to get. Alright guys, so that's pretty much it for this video on sand as substrate for your aquariums. All the sands work pretty good. Be very careful when you're using fine sand that you don't plan on using rooted plants, because it is going to compact on the roots and starve those plants out. But other than that, they all work very well. They're all going to work very good with plants, and I don't have any complaints here with any of them except for the fine sand. But thank you guys for watching this video. Thank you for watching Trapfish Aquatics, and I will see you guys in the next video.